Hi, anyone and everyone. This is Kim, the Humble Hermit. I own and run the Humble Hermit LLC. Come as you are, Oracle, Music Mama 80. I have two YouTube channels. One thriving TikTok that went semi-viral in May. I have an Instagram account, a Facebook, and a business Facebook. Recap of last video. I called it off with my friend with benefits in July of 2023, leaving me a free agent in an uncertain world. I should get rid of that. Don't mind me. I'm going to be messing around with some cards here while I tell the next part of this story. So, I didn't really decide to become celibate right away in July after I broke up with the friends with benefits. I actually started talking to a friend of a friend, a male. And it just, it was weird. It was like weird from the beginning. He was a little, I don't know. He's like a few years older than me. He still lived at home with his family. He supposedly had a full-time job. It was just a weird situation. And I friended him on Facebook. I should have never friended him on Facebook. We fell off for like a week or two. And then I want to say like the end of August, I went out with my family for one of their birthday dinners, and he wanted to get together. He said his parents were out of town, so I was going to go to his place and we were going to hang out there. And I'm like a stupid idiot. I get there, and of course, all he wants to do is mess around, which, I mean, par from the course. Look at me. I'm a fucking goddess, right? The tits and the ass, to match. So, like, lo and behold, who wouldn't want me? I'm just saying. I'm just kidding. I'm literally just kidding. I'm not that full of myself. Really, I'm not that full of myself. But seriously, I get there and that's basically all he has in mind. So I'm like, fine, let's get naked. And I get naked. And he looks at me like, what? Like he did not expect me to give in. Long story short, nothing ends up really happening. We've kind of like, heavy petting and whatever. And I end up putting my clothes back on and saying I gotta leave. And I leave. And, like the next day, him and I talk and he makes some kind of comment about, well, I made a comment to him that I just didn't think it was cool that I get there and it's just like automatically like he just thinks that we're gonna have sex. And he goes, well, you're the one that took your clothes off. And I was like, yeah, because this is what you wanted, right? Like that's what you wanted. You wanted to get down and dirty. Let's get down and dirty. You're not gonna turn it around on me, buddy. You're not gonna turn it around on me. It's not happening. Suffice it to say, he wasn't. I don't know. There was something off about him. Like he had this, like fake nice guy persona. Like I would not be surprised if he was like the town rapist. I'm not gonna lie. Like there was something off about him. Seriously. I'm not joking. Like there was something off about him. And I'm glad that I'm glad that I did not stay there. I'm glad that we didn't date. I'm glad that like that was it. I found out later from the friend that like set us up that he was actually reaching out to her for sex at the same time that him and I were talking. And I said to her, I said, you could have told me that because I wouldn't even have wasted my time. Because then I wasted my time and realized he was, no good, She wasn't a friend either, by the way. She's not. She's... The weird thing was that that was all going on in August. There were so many other things going on in August. One of them was after my rape in January, and I kind of was messing around with a few people, and then I met the friends with benefits. So one of the guys that I was messing around with before I met the friend with benefits reached out to me again in August. He actually reached out to me a few days before I met up with the friend of a friend at the end of August, asking me how I was doing, asking me what I was doing, and I was like, working on my business, getting my act together, because I was coming up with a game plan for my business, and I was still studying tarot like crazy, and I hadn't started writing my first book, but I was planning it out, and I had a lot going on. I had all these ideas in my head. I had all these like storyboard type things going on, and this guy reaches back out to me, and he's asking me how I'm doing. So I'm telling him, I'm like, oh, I'm getting ready to start my own business, and blah, blah, blah. And as soon as I said that, like, he stopped talking to me. So I let the silence be for like a couple hours. And then I reached back out to him, and I was like, so why did you reach out to me? And he texted me back like right away. Funny, because he couldn't text me back before when I said I had a business or I was starting a business. He's like, oh, I just want to see how you were doing. That's all. That's it. I was like, okay, well, I hope you're doing good, and have a nice life, because like I don't understand the purpose. Like, you're being nosy, like you want to know what I'm doing, like you wanted to get together, but when you found out like I was doing my own thing, like you didn't want to get together. Like, I don't know. Like a month after that, he reaches, or no. It was around Thanksgiving last year. It was like a week before Thanksgiving, I want to say. He reached out to me and said, hey, we should get together sometime. Wouldn't you have said that in August? Like, I don't understand. I don't understand the bipolar mentality. I don't of men and women. I don't understand. Like, I don't get it. I don't get it. And I realized, with the friends with benefits, I said I wanted friends with benefits, and like 2 months later, I changed my mind. But I was honest enough to open up and talk about it, and say something, and like have a real adult conversation, and all that stuff. Whereas there's people out there that, like, you have a one night stand and you don't talk for like 4 months or 5 months or 6 months, and then all of a sudden they reach out like, hey, like, let's get together. Like, how do you, where, like, who, what's he, woozy, like, I don't understand. Like, how do you know, like, I'm not married. How do you know I'm not pregnant and having a kid? Or, you know what I mean? Like, you just all of a sudden reach out of the blue and be like, hey, we should get together. We should knock some boots. You know, like, what? 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 And that's the reason why I never reach out to people from my past. You know what I mean? Like the friends with benefits. I saw he has a girlfriend. Fabulous. I'm not going to reach out to him and be like, hey, you maybe want to come over and pretend like you don't have a girlfriend for the weekend. I would never do that. But there are people out there that literally would do that. I don't understand. I don't understand the mentality. Like it's over, it's done. Let it go. Just let it go. Let it go. Kick it under the rug, throw it outside, bury it in the backyard. I don't know, but it's done. It's over. Like you reached out to me in August, you reached out to me in November. Like how many. And I'm not going to lie. I am not going to lie. I really thought that this year he was going to reach out to me again, this guy. Because I was like, why does he keep trying? Like, this guy, tall, skinny, string bean looking guy, very cute, very like hippie, like 90s hippie-ish. He had been in the military. He lived at home with his parents, but he was like a horticulturist. Like he was growing plants, and he had like a greenhouse like in their backyard. And we had a brief little thing in February for like a week where we hooked up twice. Seriously, twice. He came over, we hooked up twice. That was it. And it was funny because after the second time, I didn't hear from him. And I reached out to him. I'm like, are you okay? Because I would have thought we would at least just had, some conversation or something. Because it wasn't anything serious. Like, I knew it wasn't serious. He knew it wasn't serious. And I'll never forget, I reached out to him. I'm like, are you okay? Like, I haven't heard from you. Like, you fine? Because we would at least, like, text and joke around and stuff. Kind of like friends. Not friends, but not friends. And he finally messaged me back, and he goes, you were pretty rude to me the other night. And I was like, rude to you? I'm like, what are you talking about? And he goes, you kept touching my lips and telling me to be quiet. He's like, I didn't appreciate that. Now, context. Still coming off a rape at the beginning of January, middle of January, trying to like figure out a healing journey because I knew like I needed to change something in my life, many things in my life. I knew it. And when me and this guy got together the second time, not the first time, but the second time, I had taken one of my gummies, and just it totally floored me because I hadn't taken one in so long. I kid you not, guys. I have a little jar in my bathroom filled with gummies. They're probably stale. They're probably nasty. They're probably moldy. I don't know. I I probably should toss them because I probably took my last one like in June at my birthday. But again, like I took one last and same gummies. I took one last year and it floored me because I hadn't taken one in so long. Yeah, I'm not kidding. You probably are looking at me like I'm disgusting right now. I am. I'm disgusting. I probably should just throw them out. But I took this gummy and I was out of my mind because again, I hadn't taken one in so long. And I remember him and I lying in bed and we were looking at each other and we were like kind of like talking. And all of a sudden I remember I kept like tracing his lips, but I wasn't touching his lips to tell him to be quiet. I was touching his lips because there was something about his lips. There really was something about his lips. And still to this day, like I think about that because I don't know what it was about his lips. I really don't. But I couldn't stop touching them. And I remember telling him to be quiet because I was really trying hard to think, like, what is it about these lips? Like, I don't understand. And the only thing I could think of is, and you guys can come for me in the comments if you want, but I believe in past lives, and I believe I've lived many past lives, and the only thing I could think of is that him and I had been together in a past life, and there was something about those lips, and I was remembering it, but I wasn't remembering it. But it's funny. I mean, it's not funny. I felt bad at the time. I really did feel bad at the time because he's like, you kept telling me to be quiet. He's like, I didn't appreciate that, and I texted him back, and I was like, I'm so sorry. Like, I'm like, not to make excuses, but I was high. I didn't know what I was doing. I was like, I just wanted to play with your lips. I like your lips. I said, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to offend you. I said, you don't want to talk. That's fine. I get it. It was nice talking to you. It was nice knowing you. See you around. And he just said, okay. And it was like, that was it. And that was in February of 2023, beginning of February. Well, end of January, beginning of February, something like that. So for him to come back in August and then come back again in, around Thanksgiving, I was just like, why? Why are you coming back around? Like, you told me that I treated you like garbage, but now you're coming back around to me for what? Like, for me, it was over. Like, that was over. And I talked about this in video part 12, but the man that raped me in January came back, popped up back around at the beginning of July, um, right as I was breaking it off with the Friends with Benefits. He had sent me a picture of himself and was like, "Oh, do you remember me?" And I told you guys in part 12, it was the picture of him from OK Cupid, which is, again, I'm sure what he looks like to the outside world, but when I went to see him, that is not at all what he looked like. And he wanted to get together. Oh, do you remember me? Yeah, I remember you. All right. I remember you. And no, I do not want to get together. I didn't even respond. I just deleted the picture and the text. And I don't even I don't even think I blocked him or anything. I just deleted the text and the picture. Like, I had no interest. And he didn't message me back. That was over a year ago now that he did that. But it was kind of funny because part of why I'm doing this video and talking about that for a second time is, sorry, I have my window open. There's people out there doing stuff. Um, there was one other time where I met somebody who I knew what they were supposed to look like. Like, I had seen a picture of them. And when I met them in person, they did not look like that person. And you can think I'm crazy all you want, but the man that raped me in January of 2023, the man that I saw when I went to that house, was the same man that I saw in my ex best friend's bedroom in 2019 when I went over there on a Sunday morning to get her out of bed and get her started for the day. And she had told me that her Friends with Benefits was probably going to be there. And I was like, okay, that's fine. And I let myself in, and they were both there. They were dressed, you know. But the guy that I knew that was supposed to be in her bedroom with her, And I had seen pictures of him before, and obviously I'm not going to name names, but when I went into that bedroom to say good morning and say I was there and say, I was going to start doing stuff and wait for, her gentleman caller to leave. And I looked at that man, that was not the man that was supposed to be there. And when I tell you it was the same man that I went to the house and he raped me in January 2023, it was. I'm a spiritual person. I've always been a spiritual person. I've always been a believer of God. I've always been a believer in energy. I've always been a believer of lifetimes and afterlife and demons and angels and anything in between. Unicorns. Whatever that was that raped me in January of 2023, whatever it was that was in that bedroom with my ex-best friend in 2019, that was an entity. That wasn't like what I saw was an entity. I didn't see the person. I saw what was inhabiting the person. And it was the same entity in her friends with benefits that was in my rapist. And I believe that that entity has been following me around for lifetimes. Lifetimes. And this is just the prelude to a couple of parts of very, very weird, strange phenomena that has happened to me in my life. This was part 14.